The Afton family is the epicenter of the Five Nights at Freddy series. They're the reason it started, the reason the animatronics got possessed, and the reason they were all set free. With so much of this series being centered around these characters, there are bound to be plenty of theories as to how it all ties together, and those are what we're exploring today. Greetings gamers and welcome back to Top 10 Gaming. I'm Connor Monroe and this is the Top 10 FNAF Afton Family Theories. Let's do it. In a 10 surrogate mother. Plenty of members of the FNAF community lean towards the idea that Ballora, an animatronic introduced in Sister Location, was an attempt at recreating a mother figure for William's children, hence her motherly features, her mini-renas, and her song, which we also believe is meant to represent a woman who William was blocking out or ran away from in the aftermath of his children's deaths. Some also believe the animatronic to be possessed by the spirit of the mother of the Afton kids, who either died in a car accident, as one unofficial music video suggested, or via brutal murder at the hands of her husband after discovering his evil deeds. It could also have been that the death of his wife started William to killing. However, we know that Ballora is most likely not possessed by the mother thanks to the novels, where it's revealed that the Funtime animatronics were made using the remnant of the original 5 animatronics, which contained the souls of Jeremy, Fritz, Susie, Gabriel, and Cassidy. So there wouldn't really be enough room for the soul of a mother who would have had to die after the animatronics were created, which would be after the missing children's incident. Yeah. And at 9, Witness. The unfortunate scooping of Elizabeth Afton is really what ended up changing William's motives. At least we think so, since in the novels once he sees the original animatronics possessed, his goal changes to search for eternal life and making himself immortal. But in the games, could it have been that the baby scooping is what changed him? I mean, it would make sense, especially with the fact that Crying Child, one of William's other kids, may have seen it happen. It would explain a lot if Crying Child did indeed see the scooping, the stomach mouths on the nightmare animatronics, William keeping an eye on him using cameras and stuffed animals with security cameras and speakers inside, and this could be the moment that William learns about possession and that somehow his daughter was kept alive inside the animatronic, hence why he says "I will put you back together" when his son is dying after pulling the plug. He thinks that he can save him like how his daughter stays alive in Baby. Little does he know that you need agony to allow for possession, which only happens at the moment of death, not after. And at 8, Mustard Man. The most confusing part of FNAF 6 has got to be the fan name Mustard Man from the Midnight Motorist minigame. No character until this point has been identified with the color orange. It was even made explicitly clear in the Freddy Files Updated Edition book that your character in the minigame is orange, not purple, which leads me to believe that maybe this scene is more than we originally thought. Now, there are 2 groups of people for this character. One group that believes that this is William Afton before remnant injections or something like that, before becoming the shadow of the man he once was, and the other thinks that this could in fact be Henry Emily, the father of Charlotte, in the security puppet minigame from that same game, which could also help support this theory. There isn't really much to go off of, only that this may be William because of the 2 sons, one watching TV wearing a grey shirt like Mike from the FNAF 4 minigames, who goes home to watch Immortal and the Restless after work in Sister Location, and the similarity of the Mustard Man color with the "I will put you back together" color text from FNAF 4. But it may also be Henry's home because of the footprints outside the window, which look an awful lot like Glitchtrap's feet, although this could just be a twisted animatronic or something similar. Yet we never heard about Henry having more kids than Charlotte, not even in the novels, so I don't know. What side are you on? Are you on Team Afton or Team Emily? Let me know in the comments. And at 7, Intentional. There is no doubt that the Circus Baby animatronic was made to scoop and grab kids, hence why William warned his daughter and son to stay away from it. But of course, like children do, that only made them want to see her more, at least in Elizabeth's case. And William should have known that. He would have had to know that his kids wouldn't listen and instead get closer, right? Well, maybe he did. Maybe the scooping that took Elizabeth's life was intentional, and not a tragic accident after all. I mean, hey, it's possible. Maybe Elizabeth saw something that she didn't quite understand, and William didn't want her figuring it out later in life. Or maybe he had a theory about possession before this moment and wanted to test it. Or maybe he wanted to immortalize his daughter in an animatronic that was made specifically for her. I mean, if it was an accident, William would be pissed, and that would send him into a spiral that would have surely gotten him caught. So how did he keep his cool? Because he knew it was going to happen. And at 6, The Beginning. The origins of William Afton is something the games have very much left unexplored. Anytime we see an event in this series, it was while William was killing. we never really, to our knowledge at least, see him before he's on his murderous path. So, what gives? What's his origin? Why did he start killing? I mean, at this point we know more about Rick Sanchez, and that's saying something. I mean, he literally started this season of Rick and Morty saying, "Don't establish a canonical backstory with me." Either way, what could have possibly triggered this kind of reaction? Now, I'm no profiler, but my sister watches a lot of Criminal Minds and I've seen all of Bones, so I am nowhere near close to qualified. There could be many things. The death of his wife, divorce, hell, maybe a bad song played on the radio. But while we may not know what it is, we do know what it can't be. We know that the death of his children cannot be the reason he started killing. Since Elizabeth got scooped by Baby, he was built to be a murder robot, and Crying Child saw it happen, hence the nightmare animatronics and the empty girls room in FNAF 4. We know that nothing else happens to these kids as far as we've seen, and we have no idea about the mother or the baby mama of these kids, but maybe there wasn't one to begin with. Halfway through in at number 5, kidnapping. Now, this is one of Amanda's theories and she seems dead set on it. So what if the Afton kids were kidnapped? What if they were never William's kids to begin with? I mean, it would explain a few things. Why there's no mother, first of all, because while yes, you need to have a female to have a biological child, your kids don't have to be biological. So could William have kidnapped them? Maybe. I mean, he does keep a hell of an eye on them, installing cameras everywhere as evidenced by his psychic friend Fredbear plushes that we can see in basically every screen of the FNAF 4 minigames, and it would also explain the line of "the baby isn't mine" from The Immortal and the Restless, despite the kid looking exactly like his father and even becoming a bat. Like we hear Michael say in his final speech, "They didn't recognize me at first, but then they thought I was you." Michael looks exactly like William, but Vlad kept insisting that the baby isn't mine. Could this be the case with his children? Maybe something to chew on. In at 4, Clara Afton. Speaking of Immortal and the Restless, what about Clara? A seemingly random character that made her first debut as the mother of Vlad's child, and since Vlad was linked to William through the purple blazer... Oh wait. This instantly linked Clara to the never-before-seen mother of his children, especially in a game where they also introduced Ballora, who, as I said earlier, could have been intended to be a surrogate mother. However, the community instantly started calling the mother Clara Afton, and I never liked this. While Clara could very well represent the mother, why would the character on the show share the same name? I mean, William's equivalent in that show is named Vlad, so why would the mother have the same name as her on-screen counterpart? It just makes no sense. Yet people treat the name of Clara Afton as canon. While yes, as humans we crave answers and our minds try to fill in our gaps in knowledge with answers, that's what causes overthinking, there's been no confirmation as far as I know about this. And I'm sure that it would have been mentioned in the Freddy Files if it was actually important. Actually, in the Freddy Files, it calls Clara his mistress, not his ex or something, putting yet another hole in that oh so popular theory. Also, let's be honest. She's Clara Clayton. Getting close to the end in at number 3, cheating. Now, what if instead the kids weren't kidnapped, but instead illegitimate? Once upon a time, I had a theory that Clara from The Immortal and the Restless didn't represent the wife, but instead Henry's wife, and I had quite a bit of evidence and logic to back it up. In short, Clara is meant to be William's mistress. As I just mentioned, it's in the Freddy Files, but Clara seems to share a few similarities with Henry as well. Burning down Vlad's house, which Henry does countless times, well not his house, but you know what I mean, as well as demanding he take more responsibility, which Henry could have been doing in reference to the business, their baby. But ultimately the baby they have in the show is biological, and his mistress ultimately rejecting him to stay with her husband could have been the stressor William needed to flip his lid, killing kids since they represent why Clara would have stayed with Henry, and then getting the child that actually caused her to stay, Charlotte. And Clara knew that they were in danger, so she told Henry everything, causing him to take precautions for his daughter in the form of the security puppet without making his daughter freak out, letting her still live a normal life while he knew that the puppet would protect her. Well, until it didn't. Penultimately in at number 2, Micbot. Michael Afton as a robot has been proposed as an idea since the release of The Fourth Closet, and honestly to me it still makes a lot of sense. William could have wanted another son, one that would look just like him instead of the mother, or that didn't come from the woman who broke his heart, or maybe someone to just look after the kids while he went to work, so he made Michael. This is only enhanced by Sister Location, where Michael is somehow able to survive being scooped and stuffed like a Thanksgiving turkey with Ennard, and then somehow able to survive vomiting it out of his throat. That entire 6'2" hunk of metal being ejected out your throat with no warning, no lube, no spit, just metal tearing through your esophagus. Michael even admits in the final monologue that he should be dead, but he's not, and Baby knew that he wouldn't die. How could this make sense? Honestly, at this point, only if he was a robot. It also explains how Ennard would have been able to put himself inside his body, he wrapped around the endoskeleton, and why he couldn't only die in the FNAF 6 fire. All signs point to Mike being a robot, so what could get any more intense than that? Actually, finally, in at number 1, robots. A whole family of robots, of course. Think about it. Eventually, all of the Afton family members end up becoming robots in some way or another, right? Let's go down the list. Mike was either always a robot or gets controlled by Ennard, who is a robot. Elizabeth gets scooped by Baby and possesses her. William gets spring-locked and becomes Springtrap and later Scraptrap. Crying Child either possesses Golden Freddy or his father, becoming an animatronic through Springtrap while keeping his father alive in that suit. And the mother is represented by Ballora, who also ends up getting shoved into Michael. Also, this whole family dynamic is weird, honestly. Like, they literally made Mike's sister shove herself inside of him. And the whole like ships thing between these characters is wrong. Don't get me started on that. I'm glad I didn't have to make that list. Amanda also thinks that maybe all the Afton kids were robots, but I feel like that's disproven by Elizabeth possessing Baby, unless she was the only actual biological kid. Crying Child's circuits getting crushed by Fredbear makes more sense than his skull though, just saying. There we have it, friends, the top 10 FNAF Afton Family Theories. Which theories did you have, if any, and do you have any theories of your own? Be sure you let me know down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been and shall remain Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video.